From the Kaiser Family Foundation found that Americans are increasingly skeptical about the safety and efficacy of a coronavirus vaccine. 54% say they would not want to get a free vaccination if it's approved before the election. Our next guest says he's got the solution: pay Americans to take it. Joining us, Robert Lighton, Senior Fellow at the Brookings Institute. Very good afternoon to you, Robert. Thanks so much. I mean, that 54% figure is a pre-election vaccine. One would expect that post-election, middle of next year, once there's been plenty of safety testing, that the number would be better than that. Nonetheless, you think the way around this to ensure people have it is to pay them?
Well, the reason I say that is just the cold, hard math, and that is that the infectious disease doctors say we need at least 60% of the population to have antibodies in their body to ward off the virus. But no vaccine is perfect, and even if you optimistically assume 75% effectiveness, that means in order to get to herd immunity for the vaccine, you need 80% of the people to take the shot. Now, as you said, roughly half the people in the country now refuse to take the shot. You're right that probably after the election that number will go up, as long as not only the FDA says the shot's okay, but realistically, I think Dr. Fauci says the shot's okay. That number may grow higher. We may get to 60, 70%, but how do you bridge that chasm to get up to 80% where we no longer have to worry about masks and social distancing? And I say, look, if we're not going to force people to take the vaccine, which Dr. Fauci has said we're not going to do, there's really only one other way that I know of that we can get to that 80% threshold, if in fact 80% will protect us, and that's actually to pay people.
What's the cost of this going to be, and why, Robert, if it's something that needs to be done that people don't want to do on medical grounds, isn't the answer just to force them to make it pass a law that makes people have to take it?
Well, I think that would be incredibly divisive at this point, and I think if you just look at the widespread public resistance right now to wearing masks, can you imagine the public uproar if you basically told people, 30 or 40% of the country that doesn't now want to take the vaccine or more, you're going to have to take 1 or 2 shots? I think you'd have massive resistance. I don't think such a bill could get through Congress. And even if it did, I don't think you'd be able to enforce it. And so realistically, I'd rather apply essentially sugar or honey, so to speak, rather than vinegar. And that honey would be a payment. And you ask how much would it cost? My seat of the pants estimate is that $100 a person isn't going to do it. Probably $500 isn't going to do it. But $1,000 really gets you into the neighborhood where you can switch people's minds, especially with a family of 4. You're talking about $4,000 at a very difficult time financially for the people in this country. And I think that would flip the switch and get us to 80%, and that roughly would cost us in the neighborhood of $250 to $275 billion. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of money, but we've spent trillions of dollars right now trying to protect people from the economic ravages of the virus. And you're talking about trillions more dollars in lost economic output as long as the economy does not fully recover. So compared to the trillions of dollars of cost, the $275 billion to me is a bargain.
It's an interesting idea. Greg Mankiw jumped on this as well, notable conservative economist writing for the New York Times, that he was in support of this. Why spend all that money when you can just have employers, for instance, mandate that to come back to work you need to be vaccinated, or schools, like some already do, make sure their kids have to be vaccinated, or summer camps? I mean, why dig an even deeper hole into the deficit when we're already trillions now in debt?
Well, there are some school districts that actually mandate kids to take, the flu shot, but you've got resistance in large pockets of the country even to have mandated shots for kids. I think if employers did it, you'd have resistance, workers refusing to take it. In other words, I don't think we live in a world back in the 1950s when we had the polio shot and it came in and parents widely accepted it. Unfortunately, we have a very polarized country. And really, you have to look at the $275 billion as the price we're paying for polarization in order to get back to normal. There is another way to get back to normal, and that's to have a massive quantum leap in therapeutics so that people wouldn't die of this vaccine at the rate that they do. And in a perfect world, we'd have those therapeutics. But right now, we don't have them. I don't see anybody saying that within the next year we're going to get those those therapeutics to do that. And so assuming we get the vaccine, let's say late this year, early next year, and we don't have public service announcements convincing enough people to take it, then really what I'm advancing is a plan B, which is if we don't get to that magic 80% threshold or higher, we have to resort to something like this. And I urge people to start thinking about plan B right now, because we've seen the cost right now of not planning for things.
Robert, thanks so much for joining us.